Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Slightly Warped Podcast. I'm Rick, joined as always by Big Show. How you doing, Show?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really, really good. Only gripe I got, I'm an old man. I gotta have a gripe every week. These mosquitoes, man, are killing me. It's,
Mosquitoes are a bitch.
that is true. What can you do? So, a lot of
Use
you out
off.
there, yeah, I'll give you a theory about that later. Um,
Hey, do you
a
know
lot.
you should
Mhm.
contact one of them lawn services? They can put this insect bubble that keeps all that shit away from your yard. I
Really?
don't know how much it costs, but yeah, I hear them talking about it all the time here. It's Aspen Lawn and Garden here in Kansas City. I'm sure they got some down in your area, but they put what they call a mosquito net around your house. I don't know how they do it, but it's not an actual net. It's kind of
Yeah.
electrical or something that drives them away. That's very interesting.
I
And they
wonder how that
guarantee it.
does it affect other plants or anything like that?
Nah, it's just for the insects.
Oh, okay. Damn, I'm gonna have to look into that then. Now, a lot of you guys are really familiar with our TCTs, True Crime Thursdays, where we discuss crime and supernatural things and just interesting stuff. Next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing a couple TCTs, and today kicks it off. We are actually talking about the Voynich or Voynich, depending on how you pronounce it, manuscript. And how familiar are you with the Voynich manuscript, Big Show?
About scale of 1 to 10, about a -4.
Okay, just a real quick bring you into the fold. It's a mysterious 15th century manuscript. It's a codex written in an unusual script filled with illustrations, and to this day it remains undeciphered despite extensive studies. And I'll go over some things with you, and then we're just gonna, BS around to the rest of the audience and give our theories. And as always, gang, we invite you to email us or um, get in the comments and tell us your theories. But basically, this Voynich manuscript, however you pronounce it, Voynich, it's an illustrated codex. It was handwritten and it's on vellum, which is calfskin, and it's carbon dated. So they have identified this thing to be made somewhere between the year 1404 and 1438. So it's been around for a while. And it's composed, it was composed in Italy during the Italian Renaissance. The origins, authorship, and purpose of the manuscript are all still debated to this day. And every scholar that's looked at it, they can't translate the script. Uh, Most of the illustrations, they wonder what they mean. And they can't, it just says the codex, the context, excuse me, needed to both properly entertain or eliminate any possibilities has been hard to come by. And the hypotheses for this range anywhere from a script for natural language or a constructed language or an unread code or cipher. Um, and it could also be a work of fiction, like science fiction, fantasy, somebody just, you know, pulling everybody's leg. Ha ha, I'm going to make the people in the 15th century think that this is a real thing. Don't know any of that because we don't know who actually did it. Um,
And nobody understands what it says.
no, it is in an unknown code or language. So I
And
find
it was
that
found where?
uh, well, the first owner was George Barish. He was a 17th century alchemist from Prague. So even though it's of Italian origins, the first recorded ownership of it was in Prague, the Czech Republic. Now, this manuscript was called the Voynich manuscript. It's named after Wilfrid Voynich, who was a Polish book dealer who purchased it back in 1912. So it didn't even get its name until 1912. And now this manuscript, it's 240-ish pages, depending on which reproduction you can get your hands on. But the original is 240 pages. And there are evidence that there's pages missing. But what they do have, it is text written from left to right. So we do know it's traditional style for most of us countries that read left to right.
How do
And
they know that? If they can't understand the words, how do they know that?
that's a good question. I can't answer that one.
If they can't understand anything that's on the page, how they don't know that it reads from bottom to the top?
That's a good point. They don't. We're just going by
Okay.
speculation. Um, it,
I mean, that
it
could be the problem. They're not reading it correctly.
yeah. Now, most of these pages also have fantastical illustrations and diagrams, and some are crudely colored with sections of the manuscript showing either people, unidentified plants, or astrological symbols. Since 1969, it has been held in Yale University's Voynich Rare Book and Manuscript Library. And in 2020, just 5 years ago, Yale University published the manuscript online in its entirety in their digital library. And the manuscript was studied by both professional and amateur cryptographers, including American and British code breakers from both World War I and World War II. And so when we say that anybody who's could, would, should be able to decipher this thing, nobody's come up with it yet. Uh,
Kind of like
as
that
far
last letter from the Zodiac Killer. Nobody's ever been able to decipher it either.
That is true. By the way, kids, that's another TCT coming up real soon at you. Now it says here, as far as the codicology or physical characteristics of the manuscript studied by the researchers, it measures to be about 23 and a half by 16 by 5 centimeters, which is a little over 9 inches by 6 inches by 2 inches. So it's a little bit bigger than your standard paperback. And the total pages, like I said, is 240. But the exact number depends on how the manuscript's unusual foldouts are counted. So yeah, some of the pages were actually fold-out pages. So, even back then there were centerfolds, kids. Now, uh, the queries have been numbered from 1 to 20 in various locations using a style of numerals consistent with those in the 15th century. And the top right-hand corner of each page has been numbered from 1 to 116 using a style of numerals that originated from that date. From the various numbering gaps in the queries, it seems like that the past manuscript had up to 272 pages. Okay, so that's why they believe that a lot of these pages have been lost or ripped out. Because, and you know what? I want to bring this to the forefront too, because you know how you said, how do you know if it's
Mm-hmm.
left to right, right to left, top to bottom, bottom to top? How do you know how many pages are really missing? I mean,
Right.
how do you know? I mean, it could have just been, when this person was, drawing those illustrations on there, they messed up and just ripped a page out and then start over. It wasn't like it was printed on a press. This thing was handwritten. And
Are there any illustrations of it online that I can look up
yes,
real quick?
yes, you
Okay.
can.
Voynich
If you
manuscripts.
if you go to not Wikipedia, but wikimedia.org and you put in the manuscript, it displays 209 pages, and you can click on any page you want to. I'm actually at upload.wikimedia.org. It's a long one here, so you're probably better off just You can actually just type in the Voynich manuscript, and it should have a link to Wikimedia if you want to pull it up.
I'm there.
Okay. Um, the now this one that I'm looking at too, it does have on page two a piece of paper on top of it that has the Yale Media Library logo. So this is uh the actual thing that the actual real thing that Yale has right now on the campus. So it is interesting. I've thumbed through some of the pages, and a lot of them to me look a lot like uh, weird looking plants or something like that. There's a few pictures of or drawings of people.
Yeah, I'm looking at one where it looks like a lady's sitting with her legs in a bathtub with her hands in her arms and like some pipes or something.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this thing. Nobody knows um, what any of that means.
There's got to be because it looks like it looks like there's letters and numbers, like what we would consider numbers. I can't tell if that's an 8 or an S or an H. It almost looks like Allah Akbar type English or uh, writing is what it looks like Arabic.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because here's one, I'm just looking at it and it's, mm,
Nobody knows what type of Latin
that's kind
script
of
this is.
freaky.
I
But
mean,
is it Latin?
again, we can't tell you. I
Like
mean,
here's one with where there's like one, two, three, four, five, six. There's 8 women in a bathtub, and they all got their hands on somebody else's butt. This is a big ass joke. I know it's I know it's probably real, but like, come on, somebody's messing with us here
I think the people call it Latin simply because it was in the 14th century, made in
because
Italy.
they don't
But
know.
yeah, that would be it. The biggest thing. Nobody knows. It, I have
So, like, what's the whole point of this book? Like, they can't figure it out. So, what are they doing with it?
people are still trying to figure it out. That that is the reason why Yale has it on display. It and that's the reason why they uploaded the document to make anybody who wants to look at it available so that they can try to take a crack at it. Um, I'm looking at some of these symbols, man, and I'm just trying to figure out how do you decipher this? I'd have a better. I mean, you actually need Daniel from Stargate to get over here and look at this. I can't figure this mess out.
Well, I'm be honest.
Hmm.
I'm just looking at these plants where it kind of looks like it shows from the flower down to the leaves to underground where the roots and stuff are.
Uh-huh.
If you take one picture and put it next to the other ones, all the words seem to be similar, like the lettering. I mean, this is pretty interesting.
On page 50, you can see a dragon. Page 158, there's a castle. So that's interesting. Don't know what it means, but um, this is one of
Hmm.
those ones without knowing who wrote it and what the purpose is. It is unusually hard to figure this thing out. I mean, is it herbology? Is that the reason why? Mostly plants, and then you have the picture of people. Are they healing? Are they dying? Uh,
Well,
it
people back in the day thought spring water was a cure-all to shit, natural spring water. That's why Excelsior Springs, Missouri was such a big place back in the history because people would travel all over the country to come sit in their hot springs to try to cure their tuberculosis or whatever they had.
yeah.
And we all know that was all BS. I guess there's this one page. It looks like I'm gonna say it's either the sun or the moon in the center. It's a giant circle divided in pies or pieces, and there's certain number of stars in every other piece.
What
One,
page
two,
would
three,
that
four,
be?
five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I don't know. I just looked up the manuscript on Wikimedia and it has each page broke down, but not like this is page number or whatever.
Okay, because
But
mine
like
show.
so it's like has like one star. So let's say if you're looking at a clock. Hold on. Can I share my screen?
Uh, hold on. I believe you can because I can make it so. Let's see here. Shareable.
I sent a request.
You're already up. Go for it.
So how do I do it?
Click share, that green button at the bottom,
I did.
and then you should be able to click on whatever the window is that you want to share. There we go.
All right, can you see this circle here?
Yes, I see that. That is really weird.
Yay or
I
nay?
see all the stars and everything.
Okay, but like if you like here's here's one, here's two, here's three, here's four.
Mm-hmm.
And in each between one, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 stars here, 18 here, 14 here,
Hmm.
11 here.
Wow.
And like this is the
Um,
sun, the moon, or both, you know. I don't know what these little stars are, but it's like one, skip, here's two, here's three, here's four. I'm curious if that's the four seasons. I don't know.
oh, you know what? It could be. Um, you're right. I don't know if that's the sun or the moon. I'm gonna say the sun. Uh,
I mean,
it's
it
hard
looks
to
to me it
say.
could be both. Like the
Yeah.
sun in the background, the moon's in front of it.
And you know what? We could be theorizing
Right
and it'd
here looks
be
like the word
completely
mother, but I'm sure it's not meant to be. But that looks like mother right here.
for all we know, it could be something completely different than what what we think it is.
This one right here looks like badass
Imagine
or
somebody in
goddess
15th century
or
Italy
god
saying that.
or goddess.
Yeah. And that would make sense with the sun and the moon. I like your season theory. Um, I I'm just gonna draw my own quick conclusion on this before we wrap it up. I don't believe it's a hoax. I do believe that it was written in a specific codex, but I don't believe that it was either finished or that the author uh, was ready to make it available, and it just kind of like ended up out there years later. Uh, maybe we'll never know. Maybe the world will never know.
We probably won't, and somebody will say they understand it, and it'll be all bullshit. It's probably some giant alien form or some shit that we don't even know about. But how old are they saying it is, and how can they prove that? But what are they
They,
guesstimating the time?
they can come up with that. That was carbon dating. So that'll tell you exactly how old it is. Not to the year, but they said it was made sometime between 1404 and 1438. So in that,
How many years ago was that?
when they carbon dated 1990s is when they did that.
No, 1400 in
Oh,
1400. That
that's
would be
yeah,
how
the
many years? How
15th
many
century.
hundreds of years
It,
ago?
that was well, let's see. This is the year
So what? 600 years ago?
2025. Yep, a little over. Yeah,
So
well, a little under.
600
Excuse
years
me.
ago. So 1400 years after the birth of Christ.
Hmm.
Hmm. Interesting.
And you know what? Somebody may be screwing with us. Somebody may be looking down laughing. They still don't get it. So I don't know. I'm curious, guys.
Maybe.
Let us know what you think for real. Do you think this is real? Do you think it's a joke? Do you think that it's of any important consequence? Uh Slightly warped podcast at yahoo.com. You can email us, or in the podcast that you're watching now, drop a comment. Let us know. Before we go, though, Show, I want to turn it over to you because this is a very special month, best special time of the year, and we want to bring some awareness.
All right. Let me- Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a special time of year, but it's one that we need to, it's nothing
Yeah.
that like we celebrate or anything of that
No,
nature.
no, no. I'm sorry.
But
Bad
June
choice of
is
words.
is men's June is men's mental health awareness month. And um there's some good songs out there for this time. I'm trying to find this one. It's called What It's Like Being a Man.
Hmm.
Um, Strongly uh, advise someone to listen to that. Listen to the words; it has a lot of meaning. But statistically, 600,000 men commit suicide a year.
Mm.
600,000.
Wow. I did not
That
realize
is
that number was that large.
50,000 men, 50,000 men a month unlive themselves. That's 12,500 a week, 1,800 a day, 75 an hour, over one a minute.
Mm. That's deep.
Let those stats sink in. It's not weak to speak.
No.
If you fell out there and life is lifing and it's a little bit too hard, do not be afraid to reach out. However, me also being a man, dealing with mental health awareness and trying to keep myself on the right side of the dirt, um, our pride gets in the way and we don't want to reach out. So if you are that friend, that bro, that buddy, just reach out. And don't ask them how they're doing. Make them tell you what's going on. And there's ways of doing that without being, aggressive. But this life is hard on us guys. We're expected to be a certain way and do certain things, and we're only accepted by what we bring to the table. We're not loved unconditionally. No matter what any woman or wife tells you, you're not loved unconditionally. You're loved with what you can provide for the household: protection, security, stabilization, so forth and so on.
Mm.
So I know if I'm struggling, everybody else is struggling too. And since I have a platform to say something, I'm saying it. Check on your bros. I would rather listen to you tell me how bad life is versus carrying your casket or listening to your eulogy.
Exactly. Hey, uh,
This is the big show, and I approve this message.
um, I know Big Show just mentioned, getting after your friends and, more than just asking them how they are, getting into it and finding out. I know a lot of you guys don't